Okay, dear wine lovers, I'm talking a little bit about vintage 2021, including all the different stages of vegetation and harvest, and update about the wines lying on the lees right now in the cellar. And after the three really warm vintages and dry vintages 18, 19, and 20, we follow with 21 with a more classic and more cool styled vintage 21. And we start with a quite cool, cold season, April and May. So the bud break was quite late, and in comparison to the previous vintages. But this was maybe a little bit our luck in comparison to our French wine colleagues. They were hit by the frost, but because our bud break was quite late, we had no problems with the frost nights. And so again, bud break was quite late. Flowering time was also later. June was quite okay, sunny, warm, and drier. And so vegetation went on quite intense and quickly. And but I just have a quick look on the weather measurements of 21, and you can see that we had not much more rain in total year in comparison to 18, 19, 20, but we had more rain in the vegetation month like June, especially July and August. So the leaves developed quite well and quick, and it was quite rainy, so we have to take care about leaf management, which was very, very important, and also about the spraying season. And we did our best, and so like everybody, we were a little bit struggling during summer, but finally we end up in September, which stabilized the situation. And in comparison to the previous vintages, we were a little bit back to the roots. So that means we start with the harvest in October, around 8th to 10th of October. We started, and we end up with the harvest 4 or 5 weeks later, so mid of November. Which I'm not the youngest anymore, but I know it from the past, like the 70s or 80s. This was a typical picking time for our Riesling. And September, October was quite stable in weather, so we had enough time to do all the different selections and for all the different quality levels. And so we had, because the cooler temperatures also during night, there was not really high intense pop up of botrytis. The grapes could ripe more and more, and we were able to pick perfect physiological ripeness level our grapes, do the different selections. We have to select very, very intense. We go up to 3-4 times through the vineyards, picking the different steps of basic Gutswein or Cabernet or Spätlese, GG. The high end selections we were not able to pick, to be honest, because there was not enough perfect botrytis grapes. And so we finished up with the different GGs with an Auslese and with the auction selections, but that's it. But again, back to the previous vintages, there we did some very, very outstanding high-end selections, and so we are happy with this. And this is the level what we need for daily drinking, for aging, for combining with really, really good food. This is what we need, and this is what we picked in 2021. The yield was not really high, it was still okay, And so we had extremely high extract, also because the wet vegetation season, there was always, the minerals are free in the soil, the roots were able to take them out, and so you have a good complexity, good density, good structure, and a little bit more cool style and more mineral driven, and with a fine, delicate fruit. Now, what the first taste in the cellar shows us, and good balance. The alcohol would be not quite overpowered or really high, but perfect in balance. Very pure, very precise, very focused. The wines again with a good extract. You see it also on the analytics that the extract is still good, and is a good basement for this fresh, crispy, crunchy structure. And but we were also in the cellar right now, not in a rush, so we keep them on the yeast as long as possible, and that they will find their own natural balance in developing. And then maybe we start in later springtime, April or something like this, March, April, with filtrating, with the filtration, and then afterwards with the bottling. And I think it's a very interesting, very exciting vintage. Also, again, especially with this low alcohol character, again similar to 2020, what was an amazing factor in this fine vintage. And yeah, so everybody is thrilled, and but we are relaxed, and yeah, you are visiting us, I think, in March, hopefully, if it works, and then we will taste the collection together, and then you get a first impression of what Mosel is responsible for in 2021. A very pure, fine, delicate, cool, mineral-driven, classic style vintage.
Wonderful. Thank you, Thomas.